George Floyd was a father, partner, son, brother, and friend. He was a black man who was valued by many within his community. He was arrested in Minneapolis on the 25th of May for allegedly using a fake $20 note. The arresting white police officer knelt on George Floyd's neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds while he was also being restrained by other officers. "I can't breathe," he said. Upstanders raised their voices to plead with police officers to release him. He lost consciousness. George Floyd was murdered.
I really welcomed your views that I received via email, and I too feel very strongly about the shocking recent events in America. When my dad came to this country back in the 1950s, he was called all sorts of names based on nothing other than his skin colour. Somehow, instead of responding with hatred, he understood that racism was founded in ignorance and remained strong and proud. My dad always drilled into his children, me included, that education is the key. Why? Because it is. Through education, we learn understanding, empathy, and gain the confidence to question the world around us and go on to make it a better place. I am a professional black woman, a proud mother of 2 young black men. Why is this important? I am only too aware of the struggle and how resilient you have to be as a woman to be able to secure a good career. The importance of educating all the young people who attend our college is the key to unlocking discrimination. Those of you who wrote to me are quite right. An isolated assembly every year is not enough to address the issues and celebrate who we are. Behind the scenes, I have been working with the Trust to ensure our curriculum reflects the diverse beauty of all the students at St John's North. I want to ensure that all races, backgrounds and heritages are recognised and celebrated. We have more work to do on this. Do I want to stamp out racism? Yes, I do. Do I want to stamp out discrimination of any kind? Yes, I do. Education is the key to that. You will know I have focused on the 4 R's. Why? Because they matter. Respect, resilience, resourcefulness, and reflectiveness. These values are extremely poignant across key events in Black history. When Rosa Parks was jailed for refusing to give up her seat to a white man, where was the respect? Think about how Nelson Mandela embodied these values as the first black head of state in South Africa. Respecting each other and valuing each and everyone's contribution and value to society is fundamental to this. In school, there are 1,200 of you. Imagine the generation that will follow you because of the values we strive to instill. Ignorance is no excuse for the wicked acts seen in America recently, but it remains something we must tackle. We must continue to educate ourselves and those around us and speak up against these acts of cruelty. Thank you again for your emails. I am proud that you want to be the change the world needs to see. I welcome your ideas and passion for how we can continue to move forward for all of our students. I have charged your pastoral leaders to gather your views on how we can make this world a better place. Please share your ideas. Mrs. Angus.
When I first heard about recent events, like many of you, I went through several different emotions. Anger, sadness, disappointment, confusion. And one of my first thoughts was, how can I help? What is my role in all of this? I must admit, in the past, I've been guilty of thinking that because I'm not racist and I view all people equally, that is enough. But where I went wrong was I didn't speak up. So what can I do to help? Well, I can educate myself through learning about Black history, reading books about the Black experience, and I can use my knowledge to educate others. By remaining silent after these awful events, I would be a bystander, and we've spoken enough with you about the bystander effect for you to know that if you're silently watching, not helping, you are part of the problem. Don't be that person. So I encourage you, educate yourself. If you don't know what to say, look at our book recommendations on this PowerPoint. Watch informative videos online from trusted sources. Ask questions to people around you who are educated on these issues. Speak up and don't stay silent.
So I have a story to tell that I don't think I've ever really told anyone. When I was at university, I was the only black person or person of colour at all on my course of 20 people. One day we were in a lecture and one of my course friends said out loud for everyone to hear, "I don't understand why there is a Black History Month, there isn't a White History Month," and people laughed. I am ashamed to say I said and did nothing. I say you should never have regrets, but this is one thing I do. I sank into my seat, embarrassed, feeling like there was an awkwardness in the room. I regularly think of what I should have said. We live in Britain, which is majority white population. History in this country involves white people that we learn about from when we are small children and all throughout our education in secondary school. There are so many black people within history who have helped create opportunities and change the way for humankind. I'm sure many of you have heard of Rosa Parks, who didn't give up a seat on a bus for a white man. But have you heard of Ruby Bridges, one of the first black people in America to go to an all-white school in Louisiana? When the courts ordered the state to desegregate, Ruby took and passed an entrance exam to a previously all-white public school. Every day for a year, Ruby had to be escorted into school by federal marshals as protests continued, with people screaming that she shouldn't be there. Parents even took their children out of the school. Or have you heard of Garrett Morgan? Garrett was the inventor of a safety hood to help firefighters navigate smoky buildings. He went on to modify it to carry its own air supply. This was the world's first effective gas mask. I will never not speak out again. It is so sad that it takes the murder of a person or people for the world to stand up and be this vocal about bringing about a change. We should be educating each other every day, celebrating one another all the time, and uniting as one in the face of adversity. We are going to have many uncomfortable and awkward conversations, but that is how we are going to learn. There is so much I want to say, but for now I will end on the fact that I am an educator and I will not be silenced.
Watching the news after the 25th of May, it turned me cold. Hearing George Floyd pleading for help. How does this happen in today's society? I thought, but sadly it does. This needs to stop. We are all equal. No one is more important than anyone else. We are all flesh and bone. Whenever I talk to people about our school and our SJNC community, I brim with pride. Proud of our diversity within the college, but even prouder about how our students will stand up and voice their opinions when they know something is not right and unjust. As George Floyd's daughter said, my daddy changed the world. The world does have to change and be equal for all.
Hello everyone. I was inspired to write a poem as my message to you after the terrible end to George Floyd's life. I often write poems that is my way of reaching out. Many have inspired me. Benjamin Zephaniah's words at the end of his poem The British, that you have heard me use in assemblies as he likens people to ingredients in a recipe, he says we need to add some unity, understanding and respect for the future. Serve with justice and enjoy. He adds a note, all the ingredients are equally important. Treating one ingredient better than another will leave a bitter, unpleasant taste. And he warns, an unequal spread of justice will damage people and cause pain. Give justice and equality to all. This inspired me to write my poem, called Stand United, as all of us are doing with this PowerPoint. Stand united against racism to others. Speak out against hate. Say your piece when you have your chance. Shout for freedom for all. Show your wisdom for educating others. Speak the truth always. Stand up for hope and love in everyone's future. Silence is not the way forward. Mrs. Thornburg.
I've been finding it difficult to find the right words. Like many of you, current events have made me do a lot of thinking. Thinking about how and why an innocent black man, George Floyd, was tragically murdered on the 25th of May, and how so many other black lives have been devastatingly lost through acts of police brutality. Thinking about how and why racism still exists in our society. In Britain. How in Britain, black people are considerably more likely to be arrested and are disproportionately represented in terms of imprisonment and deaths in custody. How black students in the UK are still underrepresented at top universities and are less likely to get top grades. How racist incidents have risen in football over the past year and how black footballers are still subject to racist chants. How black people have to send significantly more job applications just to get an interview and are often discriminated against purely based on their name. Thinking about how, as a white woman, I will never know what it's like or how it feels to be discriminated against or have my life chances negatively influenced purely based on the colour of my skin. But I know that thoughts are not enough to make a difference. To bring our thoughts alive, we need to keep listening, keep reading, keep researching, keep asking questions, keep feeling, keep talking, keep signing petitions, keep questioning and challenging the thoughts of those around us, even when it's uncomfortable. Keep standing up for what is right, keep learning, keep empathising, keep empowering ourselves with greater knowledge to have informed conversations, keep pushing for change, and keep thinking some more. A quote that I've heard recently that's really stuck with me is that of Leanne Pinnock from Little Mix, who said, "Too often, black people are reminded about how far we've come as opposed to how far we can go." I'm incredibly proud of our diverse and inclusive Sir Jonathan North community. We are a team, we are passionate about supporting each other, and we will speak out if we believe that something is unfair. We are active citizens who are determined to make the world a better place. We all need to keep going. Imagine the change we could bring about in the world. What more can we do? I've been finding it difficult to find the right words, and I still don't feel that I've said or done everything that I can. But I know that I cannot stay silent if I want to make a difference.
Lean on Me was originally written and performed in 1972 by Bill Withers, a black African-American singer-songwriter. In this song, Bill reflects on his sense of belonging in the strong community spirit of his hometown. His song has since been performed by many other artists and often used for protest to demonstrate a sense of peace, compassion, and unity. Please join us on Friday the 12th of June at 2 p.m. to listen, sing, reflect, and stand united together as a strong, inclusive community and show we are against racism and discrimination of any kind.
Sometimes it's hard to put into words how we're feeling. So for those of you who would like to, you can create a drawing, a painting, or a piece of artwork that expresses how you feel at this time. We will then take all of your artwork and create a patchwork of images to show us all standing together as a school in response to recent events. You can create your own image, or you can recreate an image that you've seen on social media, such as the images that are shown here. Once you've done this, forward your image onto your pastoral leader.